Court. Why did he do so? A building collapsed when I was governor. His brother was the man in charge. Somebody died, and I said he should be dismissed. Yes. Now, for him, Wike dismissed his brother, who was a civil servant. Therefore, anything that comes, Wike is involved, I will do this. How can a judge of the State High Court, when a court of appeal has given judgment which they have appealed to the Supreme Court, now sit down in the courts, now sit down to say that the state governor can deal with 3 people? Our understanding of the words uttered by Nyesom Wike is that the Honorable Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU judgment in suit number PAC 3552 CS 2024 in the case of the Registered Trustees of Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners versus Government of Rivers State and 2 others was informed by bias, and that Justice APRIOKU was on a vendetta mission because Mr. Nyesom Wike dismissed his younger brother from the civil service. It will be pertinent to state that our younger brother, the Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakoro APRIOKU, who was the foremost developmental control officer in the Ministry of Urban Development and Physical Planning, was never derelict in the discharge of his duties. From the white paper report of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, he appeared before the Civil Service Commission panel, where he was completely exonerated and apologized to for wrongful suspension. He was at no time dismissed in the Rivers State Civil Service, and when the Wike government refused to recall him from suspension but was plotting to dismiss him through the office of the then head of service, he proceeded to the National Industrial Court of Nigeria and filed a suit with suit number NICN P/PHC 29/2020 between Town Planner Dr. Menakoro APRIOKU versus Civil Service Commission and 2 others, restrain the government from executing the unwarranted dismissal plot and subsequently recall him from suspension. It is instructive to note that the state government failed to file a defense at the Industrial Court for over 4 years. Finally, the government of Rivers State sought leave of court to settle the case out of court, wherein our younger brother was not only reinstated from suspension, but was paid all the arrears of his outstanding salaries and allowances. However, while the case was pending and before final settlement with the state government was reached, he attained the statutory retirement age and was duly retired. He has in fact been enlisted in his pension awaiting payment of his gratuity as a retiree in the Rivers State Civil Service. We therefore state that at no time did Mr. Nyesom Wike's government succeed in carrying out the plot of dismissal of our younger brother, Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakoro APRIOKU. For the avoidance of doubt, Mr. Menakoro APRIOKU is an accomplished professional as a town planner who discharged his responsibilities with the diligence and rose through the ranks to the position of Director of the Development. Discharged his responsibility with the diligence and rose through the ranks to the position of Director of the Development Control Department in the Rivers State Ministry of Urban Development and Physical Planning, beginning with his appointment thereto in acting capacity in 2009. With regards to Wike's allusions that it was his sacking of Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakoro APRIOKU that is infuriating Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU to deliver judgments against his interests, we make bold to state that Venerable Town Planner Menakoro APRIOKU at all material times exercised his duty of care with professionalism in the execution of his official schedule and in accordance with the provisions of the Rivers State Physical Planning and Development Law number 6 of 2003. In the report of the Civil Service Commission's Committee on the Discipline of the Civil Servants indicted by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the collapsed 7-story building under construction of 119 Woji Road, Plot 80, GROA Phase 2, Port Harcourt, the committee found that the Justice Adolphus Enebeli Judicial Commission of Inquiry report that indicted our younger brother, Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakoro APRIOKU and Mr. Obinna Edmond, Director, Building Plan Approval, on the collapsed 7-story structure was not supported by evidence, since he is not a structural engineer, to either recommend or approve building plans and development of structures. Gentlemen of the press, we respectfully refer you to pages 8 to 11 of the Eze Sir Mike Elechi's committee report and urge you to note specifically that the committee exonerated Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakro APRIOKU of any wrongdoing with respect to the collapsed building. Most importantly, the Eze Sir Mike Elechi committee did not find any dereliction of duty in Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakro APRIOKU that this department's function, that is department functions and responsibility under Section 70 to 74 of State Physical Planning and Development Law number 6 of 2003, that his duty schedule does not include the inspection of buildings for structural integrity, but to ensure that there was no encroachment on any public utility lane and that he complied with the requirements of his schedule to the letter between April 2014, when he first arrived at the site on routine inspection at GRA Phase 2, prior to the approval of the building plan, to September 2018, when the Honorable Commissioner delineated areas for monitoring and supervision into 15 zones, with each of the 5 directors in charge of 3 zones, and deployed him to take charge of the Choba-Obrikwe axis. We will, for sake of emphasis, draw your esteemed attention in paragraph 13 on findings of the Eze Sir Mike Elechi committee report at page 21 thereof, where it is stated that there is no evidence of professional incompetence in the conduct of the 2 indicted directors, Mr. Obina and Dr. APRIOKU, as they did not play any direct or indirect role in the processes that could have resulted in the collapse of the building. Therefore, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry report, which Mr. Nyesom Wike reportedly relied on to direct the then head of service to dismiss our younger brother, Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakro APRIOKU, was not supported by facts upon which the Eze Sir Mike Elechi committee could have acted the Wike script and recommend him for disciplinary action. On the contrary, the Mike Elechi Civil Service Committee exonerated Venerable Town Planner Dr. Menakro APRIOKU from the so-called indictment by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry and subsequently acquitted him, having found him not guilty. It is also instructive to note that the review committee noted in paragraph 21 and 22 that Dr. Menakro APRIOKU was not responsible for the dereliction of his duties, save not submitting a report. Please recall that the Director of Development Control has submitted that there was nothing to report in the course of his schedule. He would not have contrived a report just to satisfy the reporting responsibility placed on his office, when what was therefore before him was void activity. Consequently, we invite you to note paragraph 27 of the committee report as follows. The committee finds it difficult to recommend any form of disciplinary action against the 2 officers indicted by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the collapsed building under reference, as the reasons for which they were queried and recommended for disciplinary action were not supported by any evidence, verifiable without substantial doubt. Most of the identified shortcomings are systemic in nature, and in the face of the evidence available to this committee, it will not serve the interest of justice to single out these 2 officers and subject them to any form of disciplinary action in the prevailing circumstances, based exclusively on the allegations leveled against them in their respective queries. From the foregoing, let the whole world know that our younger brother, Venerable Menakro APRIOKU, was never indicted nor dismissed from the Rivers State Civil Service, but was retired upon the attainment of 60 years. Therefore, the people of Rivers State and the entire world should ignore Mr. Nyesom Wike and consider him as a pathological liar who is unfit for public office. Mr. Nyesom Wike, an acclaimed life bencher, ought to have restrained himself during the media chat when he made allusions on the person of the Honorable Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU as a judge who delivers judgments based on bias, sentiments, and indiscriminate vendetta against anyone he considers an opponent. We have since, after the interview, personally gone to the court premises to interview lawyers and judicial staff our findings established that our younger brother, the Honorable Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU, is a judge of unimpeachable integrity, impeccable character, and unquestionable courage, whose pedigree on the bench in the last 20 years since he took the judicial oath on January 2005 is established as a sound foundation of 18 years legal practice, taken from the date of his call to the Nigerian bar in 1986. Our younger brother, Justice APRIOKU, had 14 years of active law practice and experience beneath his belt before Nyesom Wike and his wife were called in 1998. It will be pertinent to state from our findings that as a bencher, Wike ought to have restrained himself from commenting on a judgment on television, but inclined to always play to the gallery. Mr. Nyesom Wike misrepresented the facts and the reasons behind the judgment. Firstly, from newspaper reports and reading through the judgment in case of the registered trustees of Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners versus Government of Rivers State and two others, Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU relied on the Supreme Court's pronouncement in the case of Dapia Long versus Darie and another, 2007, LPELR 928, where the Supreme Court, per Onogen, Justice of Supreme Court, later Chief Justice of Nigeria, held that on the 25th of July 2006, 13 members of the House left PDP and joined the Advanced Congress Democrats. The Speaker of House of Assembly followed on the 26th of July 2006 by the operation of Section 1091, Section G of the Constitution. They were deemed to have and actually vacated their seats in the House of Assembly, leaving its membership to 10. It was 8 out of the 10 that impeached the first respondent. The Supreme Court went further to pronounce that the 14 members of the Plateau State House of Assembly that defected from People's Democratic Party and joined the Action Congress for Democracy by operation of Section 1091G of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 were deemed to vacate and actually vacated their seats in the House of Assembly, and that the remaining 10 members of the House of Assembly can transact business except in matter of impeachment, for which 2/3 of the 24 members must be present. Our understanding as laymen is that Wike, between the year 2015 and March 2017, transacted business with the Right Honorable Adams Latordima led assembly comprising of 6 members, which is less than 24 members that ought to pass executive bills and budgets. What the judge said is that following the Supreme Court pronouncement of Dapia Long versus Darie case, Mr. Nyesom Wike used 6 members out of the 32 members House to represent the Rivers State budget on 28/12/2016 and signed the appropriation bill as 2017 Golden Jubilee year budget. The question the judge asked is if Mr. Nyesom Wike can use 6 members of the House of Assembly, what stops Senfowara from using the 4 members of the 32-man House, since it is less than 24 of the 32-man House? We appeal to Nyesom Wike to stop using media chat to blackmail and intimidate judges in cases where he is neither a party nor beneficiary of the judgment. We urge on the public to read through the judgment and reach their own informed conclusions. We state here and now that we have a noble legacy to protect and high standards of morality and good conscience in public service to live by from our fathers. This noble legacy is a creed too dear to us to give anyone the opportunity to associate us with incompetence or actions guided by prejudice. For the records and out of abundance of caution, the men Wike sought to drag downhill to the refuse bin of solid reputation are the grandchildren of Isaiah ATONBERE Prekaloko, one of the first OKRIKA sons to enroll at government school Bonny in the 1890s. We are sons of the renowned teacher Henry Ewokiri Isaiah APRIOKU, the great headmaster, our late father, who is a widely traveled educationist from the time he made the record of being the only student in the entire Niger Delta region to pass his Cambridge Standard 6 with distinction in 1929. to teaching generations of accomplished academics and professional giants in institutions like Calabar National College, Bugma, Dennis Memorial Grammar School, Onisha, New Bethel, Onisha, OKRIKA Grammar School, OKRIKA, UNA State School, Ogoloma, etc., left us a legacy of very sound character. As the Holy Writ states, the good name bequeathed to us by our fathers is worth more than gold and silver. The APRIOKU family will therefore neither compromise our values nor let anyone rubbish our reputation for political or other reasons. Some ask the question, what educational legacy was? So we ask the question, what educational legacy was bequeathed to Mr. Nyesom Wike by his fathers? Without blowing our trumpet, our family is one of the most educated in OKRIKA and the entire River State, with professionals in diverse fields, serving in Nigeria and in several European countries. In all this, our greatest worry is on the security of the lives of our younger brothers, particularly the Honorable Justice Sika H. APRIOKU, who has remained diligent in the discharge of his duties on the bench of the High Court of River State in the past 20 years. Therefore, it is the height of insolence and demagoguery, characteristic of poor upbringing for Nyesom Wike, to attribute the judgment delivered in Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU on the 20th of December 2024 to an imaginary bitterness.
It's good. There is the correct, very correct draft. I said to you, I got sent it to you. Huh? Chief, I made some corrections. So we should.
Yes, and demagoguery, characteristic of poor upbringing for Nyesom Wike, to attribute the judgment delivered by Justice Sika Henry APRIOKU on the 20th of December 2024 to an imaginary bitterness that arose from the untoward victimization of his younger brother, Town Planner Dr. Minakura APRIOKU. Let Nyesom Wike take heed and stop his predisposition to ridicule the judiciary and others who are blessed with the right discipline, pedigree, and social character. We thank you all for your patience. Signed, Chief Dr. Bernard ATONBERE APRIOKU for the APRIOKU family and Professor Innocent MIEBAKA APRIOKU for the APRIOKU family. Thank you very much.